After successfully redirecting the Santa Aurelia River and providing extra land for zoning and development, Mayor Dollarton has found himself in uncharted territory. The city's actually making money. With this rare budget surplus, Mayor Dollarton commits to continuing construction on Santa Aurelia's public transit, buses linking the suburbs to the city core, and light rail pushing deeper through the downtown. Citizens are stoked to see the promised project finally completed. Ooh, but what's this? Several abandoned industrial blocks near the downtown, practically begging for redevelopment. Suddenly, plans change. What about an entertainment district? Just think of the potential. Arena, plazas, a conference center, the works. Knowing the numbers don't quite add up, Mayor Dollarton does what any visionary leader would do. He finds a sponsor. Construction pushes ahead, carefully disguised as a public transport project. Because if residents are going to accept this can't just be good. This has to be the greatest, the most entertaining entertainment precinct Santa Aurelia has ever seen. Alright, so the intro is totally true. I am meant to be doing public transport today, and there will be a little bit of that, but I am very much influenced by the Ice Flake Arena. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what I wanted to build and whereabouts I wanted to build it. Down here, I always imagined building some sort of entertainment district, something inspired by the Staples Center within Los Angeles and the convention center. All this area is pretty interesting, and I have always wanted to build something very similar. And I imagine that the city has repurposed an old industrial site. All this would have been influenced by that train line that runs along here, and there would have been a whole lot more industry around here as well, which will also stick down within this episode. But it is all about that entertainment district, and I think is going to be a good opportunity to redevelop our downtown, which definitely needs some love. As I was researching for this build, I realized that the Staples Center has actually changed its name to the Crypto.com Arena, which I had a little bit of a laugh about. I feel like it is always so funny when you have these sponsored buildings and the names are a bit of a mouthful. And the fact that this is crypto related is just, I don't know, I find that really funny. And it's inspired me to do something a little bit similar. So rather than calling it the Crypto.com Arena, instead, I'm going to make our very own cryptocurrency of Marble Mountain. I've already started to play around with a logo idea. I've just drawn him up, and I will chuck him into Photoshop and do some fixing up just to make it a little bit cleaner. And I think I might call this thing TDT, $2.20 token or coin or something like that. I haven't really quite figured that out yet, but this series is all about parodying real life places and just real life in general. And I feel like starting off with crypto, it's just a bit of a no-brainer for me. So I'll continue to work on that. But I think for now, we probably need a little bit more space. This is going to get pretty big. I do want to use some of these roads as a bit of a guide for where I'm going to be building things. It's also a good idea to continue some of these connections, running through the city. You don't want to totally disrupt things, but there are some that we can get rid of. And we'll just shuffle this guy a little bit, and this one too. For the Ice Flake Arena, I'm going to turn off snapping, and I'm going to rotate him so this road is kind of just avoiding it. I'll use Better Bulldozer to remove some of these trees, and let's be honest, probably everything else. And look at that beautiful angle. That is what it's all about for me. And I also like the fact that we've got our entrance kind of nice and close to this intersection. Yeah, we might actually have to build some sort of overpass. This next building is going to be a little bit controversial for the digital people who live within Santa Aurelia, and then also the physical people, you guys who are watching. And also, I know I said I was going to keep these roads, but yeah, immediately contradict myself. This building is just too pretty to be industry. It just ties in so well with this one. And I'm even going to do some cheeky stuff where I might use move it. And I'm going to move him over here. and maybe a little bit further down. I don't know, I'm still thinking about this one because I don't know how it's going to work. But we could have some sort of overpass, little walkway that goes into this building. And I'm going to have to splice in some other bits and pieces so it's not just a an industrial building. It's actually going to operate more as a convention center. How we do that, I am still questioning. But I'm actually just looking at this overpass. I wonder if I can squeeze a little road under there. And I really like the fact that all of this is going to be sitting a little bit above this industrial area, just perched up on this little hillside. Kind of fun. Now, I've just been thinking about what that industrial area could look like because we do have just a little bit of space here. And I remembered that as part of the city stations pack, we do have this little compact rail yard. And we kind of do need another rail yard. We do have one, which is dedicated for our Amtrak, but we don't have anything for industry. And like in a couple of episodes, we are going to be doing some stuff with industry. You can actually see him over here. I've already built that, but that's a story for another day. Ooh, it's so close. But I can see him connecting to this bridge, which we cannot have. So I'll just remove segments of it. That should give us a little bit more space. And I just want to align him up to the river. And that is pretty close. Plop him down. How did I go? And we've got a little bit of space around here, so I could put in some little sidings. Maybe though we do have some upgrades. We do. Extra tracks. No. That's pushing it $2. Don't do that. And before I move on from this area, I want to use this amazing bridge asset that I've been sitting on for a while now. These are made by Joe Ergusk, and I'm not sure if he created these for this series, but regardless, thank you so much, Joe. I have no idea how I would have been able to capture these bridges without these particular assets. I mean, just look at this. This is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to align them up, and I can already tell we're going to need just a little bit more clearance. And this works really well on flat sections of the road, but when we start to dip down to meet the ground, yeah, it starts to clip in. So I'm going to use transformation mode. I'll change our rotation step to pretty low, and then I'll just rotate him when I find the right one, just slightly. And I am such a big fan of that, especially seeing interactions like this, where we almost have the perfect clearance for this train line as he goes over the top of the rail line. Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. Definitely not perfect. I can move some of these nodes, and I will continue just to move some bits and pieces so that we do have the clearance that we need. The one that I am going to be struggling with is this guy. I mean, where is he going to go? We might have to go over in this direction. Yeah, I mean, this is why I wanted to build this now rather than later, because we're gonna have to do a little bit of reshuffling and things that took quite a bit of time. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. For now, let's just do the easy ones. What an absolute vibe. I'm pretty into this. I love all these different levels and the interaction with the rail line and the bridges and the roads and the river. And when we start to see people up here, yeah, it's gonna be wonderful. But it's not all about the vibes and the way it looks. Excuse me, can you just go away? Yeah, that is not allowed. And this is a problem. At the moment, this is acting like a factory. I can call it a convention center all I like, but yeah, it doesn't make it a convention center, does it? So what I'm gonna do is I want to test out to see if I can make this feel and operate just a little bit more like a convention center. The way I'm gonna be doing this is some good old fashioned splicing and using our imagination. I'd like to not use my imagination too much, but I might just need like a little tiny hint of it. So I reckon our entrance to the convention center is about here, and this little entrance. But I also want people to walk up these stairs and go into it via like a imaginary walkway into this place. What I'm gonna do first is I'm going to demolish it. Trust me. Let's drag a pedestrian street towards here. These roads will sit inside our convention center, and I need a way of getting people to come inside. Now, I could do multiple things here, but I want it to operate as much like a convention center and an entertainment district as possible. So I'm going to use these leisure service blocks. I'll place one there, and I'm going to upgrade this guy to the max. Ooh, and parking garage. Maybe I can put that down there. We'll get some offices in here too. I mean, it does operate like an office, right? A little bit of commercial. Well, not too shabby. I mean, it's not absolutely bustling. We've got heaps of dogs. Maybe there's like a dog convention or something like that. There seems to be a bit of a dog theme in this city, but yeah, I mean, people are here, which is great. No one's using my invisible path, which is not great. We could use some park maintenance. I'll build one of those close by and continue to tinker. Do it. Do it. Where are you off to? You know what? I'll take it. I'll take it as a win. Wonderful. Great. We're onto something here. Let's push forward and get some detail. So just a few little bits of detail, nothing too overboard. I am playing around with some of the new assets as part of the City Stations pack, and there's some really cool things here. We've got this great little clock tower, which is nice and modern. I feel like is a good little spot for that. And then we've also got these pavilions, and I think these are going to be really useful. So I placed them in here, and I'm still not quite sure. I don't really know yet. I feel like it's a good tie-in, and I actually kind of like that the color of this part up here is pretty similar to this one. I wonder if I can actually change some of those colors. It doesn't look like it. You know what? It's close enough. That is fine. But yeah, just going through, adding in some little bits of detail, and I still need to add some benches and lights and all that stuff. And I have to say, as much as I'm liking these buildings, matching them up together, I do kind of want to carry on the same curviness of the arena into this very boxy convention center. And after having a bit of a flick through some of my different buildings that I've downloaded from PDX Mods, this police headquarters, well, at least I think it's a headquarters, or maybe it's just a police station. Yeah, I mean, I can't really read that, but I mean, this is pretty nice and curvy. Now, do I want a police station attached to this thing? Not particularly, but I think using the same method as before, maybe we could turn this into another entrance, or maybe even a hotel. And that definitely still needs some work, but I quite like it. I think it's all we really need in terms of just adding to this area. I did make a mess of our loading dock. I think that this is probably better. We can actually create a little plaza at the front, or maybe even like a little parking bay as well for people who are staying at the hotel. But yeah, now that we've got all of these aspects down, there is still one more building I'd like to place down just to tie it all in. A lot of people coming here would be catching public transport, and I also think it's going to be worthwhile for people just going to the city in general. So this is going to be a transportation hub that is going to serve both these places. So I'd like to build something fairly sizable. Looking at our city stations pack, we've got a few to choose from. And I've chosen the buses because I like to expand our bus network a little bit more, but then also a bit of our light rail. Okay, so this is interesting. The platforms to this station all sit a bit lower to the entrance. I didn't realize that, but it's given me a few little ideas, which I probably wouldn't have thought about until I saw this. Something else you can do with the station is you can upgrade him so he has some extra platforms, but I'm not going to do that. I'm saving this space. And sorry if I sound a bit husky, but I am super jet lagged. I'm actually recording this the day I get back from Sweden. Yeah, I've been on the plane for like, I don't know, 30 hours. So yeah, kind of jet lagged. I honestly couldn't wait to get back into this and finish off this build, especially after meeting all the Ice Flake and Paradox guys. And especially after catching up with all the creators, asset creators, fellow YouTubers. It was a pretty magical couple of days. I'm pretty tired, but I've got things to do. Let's keep playing around with some of the levels. This road here, I think we need it, but this intersection is just too crazy. So let's lower him down. Okay, so we now have this whole underneath section, which I am a big fan of. I think that it's going to be really useful just for people who are leaving this busy road and kind of just want to bypass all this, especially if you are trying to get further out beyond here, and it kind of like dumps you into this section. It actually dumps you onto this road, which then leads all the way over here. So in terms of getting people around, yeah, I reckon it works pretty well. I mean, sort of well. Over here is going to get probably a little bit dicey, and I think what is letting it down at the moment are the pedestrians. So we do have a lot of pedestrians crossing here, but I do think that we could make some sort of pedestrian overpass but we do need to figure out where buildings are going to go first and how all that is going to look. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a very pleasant experience, that's for sure, but if you've ever driven in the city before, you know that that's also not very pleasant. So in that regard, I feel like it makes sense, but there are some things that don't make sense. So we do need to go through and add some custom traffic lights and just make some restrictions as well, because some areas I don't really want people to access. So for instance, and I don't even think it's possible at the moment, but I don't want any vehicles kind of making that turn into this. I think that if they want to do something like that, they can take another route, maybe like down here, or I don't know, maybe catch some public transport instead. That is the whole reason why we build something like this. We do need to connect him up and all that. But before I do, well, the reason why I didn't go for a highway is I do want this to be low speed, but then I also want to be able to attach buildings to this road. Like I said, I like the multiple levels, and I do want people to be able to walk around here, but obviously not quite as much as they currently are. But in terms of buildings, the first one I want to place is around here, and the building that I think might work, we have used it before, but I don't think you're going to be able to notice. This is part of the skyscrapers pack, and it's got a whole bunch of bits and pieces that I think are perfect for this particular area. I mean, it's a post office, which is perfect, but it also contains some underground parking, which I reckon is going to be useful. I'm going to turn snapping off, and I'm going to give him a little rotation, and it's going to be a bit tighter than I had planned. Okay, move it, come on. And the beauty with fairly generic buildings like this is they already look fairly different. This one has a different coat of paint on it, which I think is all we really need just to show that these are different buildings. We can also make some attachments to this. This one has an extra building attached, and I think I'm just going to leave this one as is. I don't really need to add a second one. In fact, I can't. It'll go over the road. But I think I might add a downtown restaurant. This is a very pedestrianized area, and I reckon there's gonna be a lot of people walking from here to here to here. So a restaurant makes a lot of sense. Oh boy, there is a lot of busyness and craziness and jank, but I'm not gonna focus on it at the moment, because I want to get the bigger picture stuff down, like the buildings, like the pathfinding, and just like the general idea of where things are going. And then we can go through and fine tune, because there's nothing worse than fine tuning and then making some bigger picture changes. So let's continue. What I'm going to do is with this station, I can see the entrance to it is right there. So let's give people a direct access over to this point. So that avoids the road pretty nicely, but up here we do have this parking situation which is disconnected, and I don't want to connect him here. So I think I'm gonna drag out the invisible car path. Jeez, that was close. Almost lost everything. I, every now and again, get a crash like that when I'm just getting a little bit too ambitious with Move It. And I'm also not autosaving because it crashes my game when I am also recording. So yeah, almost lost all that progress, which would have been a real bummer because some fun things going on down here. So Better Bulldozer, you can't remove any of the net lanes, and I was stuck with these white markings, which meant that the custom car park that I was trying to create around here wasn't really working. But that's totally fine, because what has ended up happening is I've created this little planted section, and I reckon it is so much better. So pretty happy with that. It's a nice little entrance to all this area, just a nice little space. Just ignore some of those areas. Again, we're working on that. And what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to blend in and use those net lanes. And this is one of those instances where sometimes when you're limited with things, it actually opens up more possibility and gives you some new ideas. And so I'm going to continue that idea. I'm going to use the net lanes to blend in the detail that I'm putting down here. As you can see, we've got some faded lines and some disconnected lines. So using the same net lane, I'm going to connect them up and drag them down like this. And here we've got another net lane that I can't remove, and I don't really like his placement. So what I'm going to do is I'll use some of these thicker guys, and I might be able to create a bit of a custom crosswalk about here, and that'll give access for people who are parked on this side to cross at this point. And all around here still needs so much work, but I am more interested to see the relationship and the connection between our station, people walking across, and then getting to all this. It's cool to see these little guys already using our path, which is lovely. I've hidden him into... Oh, he was hidden. What happened to him? Okay, well, I need to re-hide him into the building down here, and then he pops up and connects to the street. And I don't think I'm going to build anything larger across this road. I will make this much easier at this point, but seeing as there's already a bridge, I reckon with only one street to cross, that's plenty fine. So we'll do a little crossing here, and I'll widen up this section of the road. Maybe even put in a fence just to stop people getting into, all that mess. What I've got so far is I've got a little barrier just to stop people from crossing this intersection. And things are starting to get a little bit busy around here because I am going through and adding in a couple of larger buildings as I start to think about what the skyline is going to look like. Now, something else is going on. We're getting a little bit of pollution, which I did kind of predict. I didn't think it'd make its way over here so quickly. What I'm going to do is I'll just enact a policy, advanced pollution management, which should hopefully just reduce the amount of pollution around here. I wish it was a district policy because I feel like that'd be more realistic, but unfortunately it's only a city-based one. Now, something else I've also learned, we do actually have a convention center. I didn't need to make my own. But I'm going to stick with my own. It's a bit more unique and I think a little bit more interesting for this context. We can add this one eventually somewhere else, but yeah, I'm sticking with it. I've also started to add in some of the buildings from the Office Evolution Pack by Titan, and I absolutely love these buildings. I am trying to find whereabouts I'm going to be placing them within our city because I kind of want to have like a bit more of a historical and older downtown. So we're going to have this section, which is going to be more of our larger skyscrapers. And some of our newer buildings, and then I would like a spot that is more about these guys, because I love the way that he has created this pack as these old buildings have been modernized and changed over time. I've also spliced in a taller guy, but yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to keep him. Still experimenting. But now that we're starting to see lots of people making their journey into the downtown, trying to get to the convention center and access all of these new buildings, I think that we should start focusing on getting some of this public transport connected up. Let's start with the buses. First of all, I need a bus depot, and we do have one to play with as part of the City Stations content pack, but it's a little compact one, and I reckon we're going to need something a little bit more substantial. I will play some of these architectural bus stops though, they look pretty nice. I think I'm just going to go for a good old vanilla one, and I'll keep it simple and just place him within our industrial zone. I've got a few bus stops around here, but we don't have anything out in suburbia, so we should go ahead and just give a little bit more connectivity to all these guys. And then in the downtown, let's place down some of these, these architectural ones. Very nice. And then I'm just gonna drag him out. Now, I'm not going to overthink this too much. I would like to keep this pretty simple. So I'm just gonna go around here. I kind of want you to go all the way through here. So let's go like that. I just realized something. That's not very clever, is it? So if this guy wants to turn into this road, he has to cross here. Yeah, man, I am always making mistakes with right hand and left hand traffic. You know what? Let's take this as an opportunity to add in a bus lane. Oh man, all my beautiful work. See, this is exactly why you gotta do this stuff first. Figure out where everything's going, get the bulk of the ideas down, then detail. Do this stuff last. Why do I always make the same mistakes? Oh, gee whiz. Alright, so all fixed up. It took a little bit of time, but I think it's worth it. I don't know if the bus lanes are perfect. I have now dragged out all the bus networks. We've got 3 of them, which I'll show you in just a moment. But yeah, this is a little convoluted, but I actually kind of like the way it looks. And that is sort of the reason why I want to keep it. But yeah, a lot of people down here are using our bus terminal, which is really lovely to see. I mean, of course they would. This is pretty heart and center of the city, and I think as we continue to add more and more down here, it's gonna get, pretty busy. But for now, it's looking pretty good. I do love those red markings for our bus lanes. And in terms of the bus line, I've got the 3, one of which is going all out into the suburbs, and that is this line down here, line 3. And then I've got 2 that targets mostly the downtown and stretching out towards Dogtown. And that's already made a pretty big difference with our income, which is great. And I'm starting to get an idea of where places and zoning is going to sit, which is also great. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there because I am curious about how much pollution this is going to make. I think it's going to be pretty high, and I don't even really mind that much. Because I do think it's going to be interesting to think about where people are going to live in regards to this noise pollution and just regular pollution. But let's just speed things up for a bit and make a bit of money, make a coffee. That's what I'm going to do while I'm just letting the simulation run. And let's also see just how bad the pollution is going to get. Actually, I take that back. I'm not okay with it. It's too much pollution. It's good to make a bit of money, but yeah, we're going to have some major problems. So you can probably see that I have downloaded from PDX Mods, Star Q's static ploppable mod, and a lot of people have been wanting me to get this for ages, and I probably should have. And so now I can place down a version that does nothing. No pollution, has nothing attached to it. Yeah, it's going to be far better. Yeah, that was a good choice. The tiles were a good choice too. I think the red looks way better, but I think changing that building has made a massive difference. I don't know if pollution puts people off from walking around, but I feel like as soon as I removed it, I saw tons more people. But I did also splice in a lot more ploppables in there. So I'm hoping the parks and the offices are going to start to take a little bit more effect, and we should start to see more people around here. But you know what else is going to help? Light rail. I'm going to continue 2 of our light rail networks, one of which is going to start at our central station, go all the way along the waterway, split off into this section, and at this very moment, he goes through this road. But this road is just far too busy and, I think, too wide. Instead, I'm going to remove that light rail line, and we're going to go up and around here and connect up to our bus station. Then we'll go back down and go into this section around here. But you might be wondering, how is it going to connect up to our bus station? So my original plan was to drag out one of these station networks and just build something custom. However, another idea. It would be really nice to have people use this platform or this walkway. So, what about we try something a little bit different? Okay, so this next portion of the video is a bit of a trust exercise. Trust me, I've got something in mind. I don't know if it's definitely going to work, but also, the next episode, I think things will make a little bit more sense. But for the time being, I've got a bit of an idea for this. And for this light rail network, yeah, I'm not like 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I want this one to connect to this station here. Because I do also have another line that is going up this road, and it goes in the middle of this building, and I just really want to keep him. So I don't want to drag a line along this road, which would be the more obvious route to take. It just feels a little bit too close. 2 blocks between the two. Yeah, a little bit too close. But for whatever reason, this is not connected up properly. So I'm going to remove this road that I added and try something a little bit different. And it's pretty messed up, but I do need to be really careful when removing some of these networks as part of this building. But with those 2 now removed, I'm going to make another change to this lane, which is just so painful to think about because I've already been here before, but I've got an idea with it. And I think it's going to be a bit tight, but I'm going to try and squeeze in another bus lane within here. We do have this platform and this station to use. I know we can use this side, but I don't know. It would be kind of nice to have another platform on the other side. And we do have some complaints here, but I think I can remove, yes I can, the sub elements. Wonderful. All connected up and 0 complaints. How good is that? But let's just keep the craziness going. I'm going to use better bulldozer. Oh, look at all those people down there. Wonderful. I think I'm also going to... Pretty unnecessary, but honestly, can't help myself. It's going to be pretty fun watching people walk across here. I mean, I hope they walk across here. But let's push on. I'm going to drag out our light rail and let's go towards this area and make our way down here. And just a bit temporary around here while I think about what all of this is going to look like. I mean, the next episode is going to really show why I am held back with building what I want to build at this very moment. But I think you can get the idea of the path and where it's going, and just a super simple connection down to this neighborhood. And I think we're ready to connect him up. And this, my friends, is absolutely working. I am so happy to see light rails stopping off here and dropping people off. And then those people... Oh, I was about to get cranky at that guy driving through our bus terminal, but he's allowed. That's park maintenance. But yeah, I am so happy to see people actually using our stairs and our light rail and making the transfer between the different places. No, now I am actually angry at him. And for what is a fairly short network, it is great to see so many people using our light rail. I think it's because at this point, there is a lot of traffic, and I think it's probably one of the faster methods of getting into the city, even though down here is not high density, so not a lot of people living around here. This is where I'm seeing the most amount of ridership, which is pretty interesting to see. So I will continue to work on this network. But I reckon let's shift focus just for a tiny little bit and let's zone out some of the residential areas around where the light rail is now positioned and really utilize some of the demand that we have. And I think we should spend a bit of time plopping down some of the medium density around Mission Bay, which is looking very sad at this very moment. So let's get a bit of this going on. And then I'm also going to test out a bit of the zoning toggle in another area. And I'll see if I end up wanting to use it in the future. Because I'm not much of a zoner, and this might get me zoning. Alright, that was a lie. I didn't build all this just then. I actually built all of this at the very beginning of the episode, but as it turns out, I wasn't jet lagged, I was sick. So sorry about that. You could probably tell by the sound of my voice that, yeah, I was pretty unwell. But I am now a healthy boy, and I am ready to complain. So, zoning toggle is not really for me. This was not my re-enter into zoning. I think I'm going to continue to plot because I just feel like you have so much more control. This all down here was done with zoning toggle and also plopping to get these little corner guys down. And yeah, I mean, it just took probably longer than if I was to use Find It and plop the growables. So I'll probably continue just to do it that way. I know there are a whole bunch of other mods and other ways you can zone and get the most out of zoning within this game, but I do think I'm going to continue to plop down buildings. It just gives me so much more control, and I think the end result is far nicer. Mission Bay, on the other hand, I did just build, as in last week when I was still in denial about being sick, but I did place all these buildings down, and as you can see, I feel like the level of control is definitely present down here, because I love the way that an area like this can turn out when you do place down these buildings. I have gone for mostly medium density, but I also wanted to place down a larger guy around our public transport. I mean, some people are using it. I haven't really given them much chance to use it just yet, but I really like the way that this area is starting to turn out, and I like the fact that we do still have a bunch of blocks still to develop, and I will continue to add to it as we see some of these creep up, because building an area like this is actually pretty quick and easy, especially when you've got eyedrop tool just to select some of these buildings and then place them down into other areas. I do wish we had a couple of extra ones to choose from, but these ones do work pretty well. So I've just been going through and adding in some buildings that kind of match similar architecture and size. You got a bit of mixed zoning, and these guys have also got some backyards, which I do think is quite nice. But I feel like this is a good representation of how cities can get amongst some new and improved and better ways of planning their cities. So this was once an industrial area, and they've taken that opportunity to redevelop it into something with mixed zoning, with some medium density and some high density around some of the public transport, and also fairly walkable and a lot of parks around here. But then we are still talking about a North American city. Australia would be guilty of this as well. So they still fall into similar traps. We still have a lot of surface parking. They are adopting some new ideas and taking opportunities to rezone and redevelop areas with some different ways of developing cities, you know, not just completely car-centric. I'd say that Mission Bay is fairly walkable. It's got okay public transport. I mean, the light rail is up here. It'll probably benefit being more down here. But for the most part, this is probably one of the better parts of the city and a bit sought after. And that's why I plan to continue to develop it up. We still got a whole bunch of blocks to develop, but yeah, I mean, that's a story for another day. We've got lots of people coming into our entertainment district, a fair few people using our public transport. What we're missing now is a bit of detail around the edges, as well as some detail on the rooftops. Yeah, I finally worked on the logo. Let's start with our transport hub. I do like seeing people walking around here, so let's just put a little roof over the top and a little bit more detail. Oh yeah, I really like the way that this guy's turned out, and I reckon let's move on and continue detailing elsewhere. I really didn't know what to build around here, but I am happy that I've gone back with our parking lots, even though we're probably not going to see a huge amount of people using them. They are sort of out of the way. A lot of people are choosing to drive into the city, and you just wait. When we start getting some of the larger buildings around here, I mean, this isn't even half of the density, so you can imagine, I think that something like this is going to be worthwhile. maybe we put some sort of, I don't know, bus line that goes around here so that people are more inclined to use it. But I think just in terms of adding in parking for our entertainment district, this makes a lot of sense. But I really like this whole back area. You can see that this is primarily for our parking lots. We do have all this underground parking, and I have dragged in some of these roads just to show where that parking is going to be. And I think that we're getting a good amount of people wandering in and visiting our entertainment district. For this area, I don't really know how to make this walkway. Maybe I just abandon this idea. What do you guys think? How can I achieve this look? Maybe even like connecting this part of this overpass and connecting him up to this area. But at the moment, I have kind of just done a bit of a hack move. Just spliced in one of these to cover up some of the imperfection. Because geez, there's a lot of imperfections and people are using it as a walkway, but yeah, I mean, they're walking on nothing, so it's not very good. So I've done a little bit of preparation for our logo to sit on the rooftop. We have this area where the banner is going to go. And what I've done, I've used the static ploppables to use the bus station platforms because I really like this rooftop. And you can see the actual platforms themselves hidden within the building. And I've also just changed the rooftop so it does match the logo for TDT coin. And in terms of that logo, I have made some custom decals which I'm going to place on top of the roof. You can see them right here. And I hope I've left enough space. Ooh, and my coin logo is a little bit too big, but I actually don't mind it. But I love that. I love how obnoxious it is. I love how much of a mouthful it is. It just does not roll off the tongue at all, but that's kind of the point. Now that is so obnoxious and I love it. Of course, that is totally the point. What a mouthful. TDT Coin Entertainment Center. And geez, what an obnoxious sign. For no one. Nah, it's for us, I guess. Looking down on the city. Man, I love that. I love that so much. And I'm so excited to get more custom signage and businesses and just bits and pieces into the city. So if you've got any ideas of extra things that we can add, please let me know because we're starting to get to the point where we're going to be getting more of these custom places in. That is what this series is all about. And I really cannot wait. I've also added in some parking. Oh, they're going into it. That makes me really happy. Let's see if I can select him. He's in there somewhere. There he is. So we now have 1,100 spaces available, which is quite a lot, but I do imagine there would be a lot of parking amongst this area. So I'm happy with that. I do wonder if people are going to park here in the first place because parking in this game is really weird. Everybody chooses to park on the street, which I guess I can't blame them. And there are a lot of people coming in here, but not a lot of people parking. So kind of strange. A few people parked at this one, but yeah, I mean, not heaps. We could definitely have a lot more. 2 people, yeah, that's ridiculous. I guess a lot of people are catching public transport, which I am very happy about. And I reckon when we start to add more and more buildings around our downtown, it's just going to get pretty packed around here. So that's going to be the next episode. Adding in more buildings and adding in something that I hope is going to fix a bit of this. And in fact, I think I might even build a little bit of it now, and I might even leave a bit of it in the episode's thumbnail. So yeah, that's the next episode. But guys, this one is all done and dusted. Geez, what an absolute marathon. Yeah, so this is now 3 weeks since I first started this episode. It's just been due to sicknesses and going overseas and starting back up at work. But I am still very much ahead of schedule, and I got a lot of episodes in the pipeline, so do look out for more weekly episodes. But guys, until then, have a great week, and a big shout out to my beloved patrons and YouTube members for making videos like this possible. Xthat Kings, Sinister Claire, KVJ Breaker, Equalithing, JH Nars, Big393, Barry Bigfoot, C Caesar Salad, W Tiger TW, and Zach Tibbo. Cheers, legends. Catch you on the next one. See ya.